Yo, what's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on? Y'all come on in right quick. Take a noon break with us, man. We got some news we want to share with y'all right quick, man. If y'all haven't heard, y'all been living under a rock. John Harbaugh has signed with the New York Giants, become their next head coach. It's no surprise, man. It's no surprise, but y'all come on in, man. Let's talk about it. Before I keep going, you know what to do.
Yeah, bro. News drop. At the same time, we're gonna get into it, but shouldn't come as a surprise, like you said, man. Y'all come on in. Let's chop it up for a few minutes, and just talk about the recent news. And one major piece has come off the board. So now we're gonna see where the rest of the chips fall.
They got to fall in right in the middle of the poker table because if they don't, I'm gonna spend them. But this answered a lot of questions, man. And from Falcon Nation, from what I've been gathering and reading on social media, it was kind of split. That some people wanted John Harbaugh and some people didn't. And somebody put in my comments, thank God. Um, but we'll see. Millie Mills, Tay Howard's good. No, Jalen Hyatt has not been released yet. That account is fake and it's a parody account. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Millie Mills. But no, yeah, you got to be careful with that, man. Swisher Sweet, what's up? Yeah, Stefanski comes into view now. Clint Kubiak still comes into view as well. But talking about John Harbaugh, it would have been a hard sell. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let Chris tell y'all what he just told me, and when he was watching the press conference, and we talked about it already. So I just let him tell y'all what he just told me about paying attention about what's going on with Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, man. Because back you think about back in the press conference when Arthur was talking about moving on from Raheem and Terry Fontenot, he was asked about John Harbaugh. And his reply was, well, of course, he's a great coach, et cetera, et cetera. And if he wants an interview, he can have one. But to me, that's not saying, yeah, I want the guy or, so I'm interested in the guy. It's like, yeah, he wants an interview, he can have one. So in my mind, it's like, okay, you have in mind like the kind of guy you're looking for, and the fact that he also said, "I'm going to suggest and recommend Jeff Ulbrich as the defensive coordinator." All those kind of like factor in, and I already was thinking it's going to be hard to get Harbaugh in here. Then when you looked at Harbaugh demands that $20 million, now I don't think that's what really necessarily was the problem, but overall, the $20 million, the picking of the GM, the full roster control, even more control than what he had over with the Baltimore Ravens. So with all that going in, it doesn't and the way that the Giants were pursuing him, how aggressive they were, having everybody, in the doggone organization meeting them, including down to the quarterback. So they were
Right.
going at him very aggressive, and I was like, Smitty, it's going to be really hard to really turn it down for how aggressive they were being. And it's like, they have some pieces too that they can work with. So
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Maybach Sports, what's up, my dude? Y'all go check out Maybach Sports on YouTube, man. He does his thing. New England Patriots fan. He has a Patriot show. I actually watched it not too long ago. Can't remember the name, but y'all go check out Maybach Sports. Him and his guy be doing their thing on the Patriots. And shout out to them, man. They're going to the second round, man. I think they're going to host who they're going to play this week.
I think no.
No, because
Don't start this. I know.
Buffalo goes on the road, so it won't be Buffalo.
No,
Yeah,
it's the
true.
other
Yeah,
one. I
yeah,
can't
let me
remember
know
who the
that.
heck they play. I just remember I just remember it's like Rams. The
The
Rams they going
Texans.
on the road.
The
Yeah.
Texans.
Oh, the Texans. Woo! I ain't gonna lie,
Texans.
that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. And I'm picking the Texans in the upset. Hate to say it, maybe
I Yeah, I'm taking. Yeah,
that defense.
I got
That defense crazy. All
that
CJ
defense
Stroud
is
got to
sleeping,
do,
bro.
yeah, all CJ Stroud got to do is show up, man. That's all he got to do. But quick news before I go on with this. The Falcons have conducted another interview. Green Bay Packers
Yes.
defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. has just interviewed for the Falcons head coaching position, and it's no surprise. That's another name been floating around the league. I
Right.
think the Chargers defensive coordinator, a young guy, his name has been, flapping around the league as well. So look, it's gonna be
Right.
some younger coaches in there this year. So hey, we'll see. But to add on to what you were saying about Jim Harbaugh, man, when you look at the entire situation, as I told y'all, let me see, can I find it? Cause I did a show on, and I told y'all that I felt his asking price was too high, man. Because
Mhm.
when you look at it right here, this is what he actually wanted. Let me get that off
Right.
the screen right quick. This is what he actually wanted. We saw this on the show last week. Tom Gross out of Cleveland. He said this is what he asked for: 20 million a year. Check. We get that. 10 million staff. We get that. Total authority over the roster. That's where it ends. Because when you have total authority as a football coach, why is there a need for a GM? And you're gonna bring in a GM that you want to select. So you just want to come in with your own ideas of what you want to do. Don't worry about what nobody else got to say. And that's what that to me, that was the breaking point. And like you
Yeah.
said, he went on to Florida. Arthur Blank did. Probably got on his nice yacht, spent some time together, take some stress off. But when you look at this Jim Harbaugh thing as a whole, man, you look at what they have, and I put it in Jarvis's on Locked On Falcons a couple of minutes ago. And the thing that I got from it, and I was talking about it, um, what do what did all of them say basically? Some guys they want to keep around. And look, Jeff Ulbrich has already been declined by the Dallas Cowboys, declined to interview for the Cowboys position because
Mhm.
they know they have good pieces in place, so they don't want to bring in a coach that's going to want to bring in his own staff because he's already said, the news reports are already saying he wants Todd Monken to come along. So
Right.
that's what he wants. So if you look at and think about this too, he's not an offensive minded guy. He's a special teams guy. So he's going to have to
Mhm.
lean heavy on Todd Monken. If it doesn't pay off, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But in Atlanta, what they want to do is get a coach in place, a offensive coordinator in place, and try to utilize these talent the best they can. And I don't think they want to go that route with two older coaches. One is the head coach, one is the offensive coordinator, because Monken is almost 60 himself. So the Falcons to
Mhm.
me are trying to get younger. That's why I keep saying when you look at Josh Blanks, you look at Matt Ryan, they're younger guys. Greg Beatles, he's not old by, he's about what, 53, 54, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
yeah, so when you look at it as a whole, the Falcons want to get younger because they have a lot of young talent on this defense, and they're trying to evolve with the times. And I've been telling y'all that, and it's starting to show. But yeah, I mean, all of this on the screen looks good, but when you got a team like the Falcons who've been going through turmoil for the last 2 years, whether it's Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, in the media and all that, they trying to get rid of all that. So what they're trying to do is bring in somebody solid, somebody that you know, they can build around and have, long sustaining talent, man. But sometimes
I will
that's
admit
how it
though,
works.
Smitty,
Go
I
ahead.
will admit just for the sake of like our theme of what we've been talking about. At the same time, bro, bringing in Harbaugh and giving him all that control,
Right.
it would have been an uncomfortable move. It
And
would
see,
have.
that's
It
what
would
I'm
have been.
saying. If think about it, Chris, and you made a damn good point earlier. If you hire Matt Ryan, but you're gonna bring in a coach that wants his own GM, what does that leave Matt Ryan? What's the point of
It
hiring him?
defeats the purpose. It defeats the
Yeah,
purpose.
right. And that's all we saying. And I know a lot of people think about those Super Bowls that John Harbaugh, him coaching Lamar Jackson. That's all fine and dandy. But at the same time, um, you got to think about everybody else in the building. Now they did fumble the ball last time when they let Belichick and Ben Johnson and all those guys walk out the door. So they're trying not to make the same mistake twice. But
That's
Willie,
all.
thank you for the donation, my brother. He said, "Pop up boys, can't thank y'all enough for great coverage all season. Appreciate the Falcons at least interviewing everybody swinging hard. Absolutely, Willie.
Sure.
Absolutely, my guy. Appreciate you as always. I got another super chat. D. Craig, what's up, my guy? He said with Lil Tomlin, but he isn't coaching this year. Still on his contract. He'll be on TV this year. LaFleur and Kubiak is still options, and I don't think LaFleur is still an option. Now it's still up in the air, they saying, but I still think he'll return to Green Bay.
Yeah, they're working it out. The contract, as far as last time I saw, that the contract, I believe it was Tom Pelissero. The contract negotiations is still in the air, so nothing is in concrete
imminent,
yet. But
imminent, yeah.
all indications though indicate though that he is still going to be brought back.
Yeah, I remember this. Bill O'Brien, when he was in Houston, had full control and traded DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they got
they wasn't on the same page. I remember that.
Yeah, they got David Johnson in return, but he was done at that point. So it was just a salary swap. He said it'll never work. And he absolutely, I know what he's talking about too. He's talking about what we talked about bringing in your own GM and bringing in that kind of coach. But he is absolutely true. I mean, it wouldn't work. But here, and to move on. Well, let me finish off this John Harbaugh thing. We get it with the record: 180 wins, 13 wins in the playoffs, a Super Bowl, Coach of the Year. We had problems with the special teams. He would straighten that right out, and I get that part. But at the end of the day, what about the rest of the front office? If you're going to let a coach come in and take over, he has to take over completely, and you have to have the utmost confidence in him. So, John Harbaugh not being here, I'm not mad. Go ahead.
Hey, let's just talk about this, though. When the last time, he gets to the playoffs, he may win a game or two, but he gets bounced out the playoffs, and he had a two-time MVP in Lamar Jackson. He also has blown the most fourth-quarter leads since 1991. So, again, there are things that you can gripe on about John Harbaugh, and just, is his message still getting around to the players? Has he been figured out? He's been in the league for a long time. So I guess at the end of the day, we're still going to see it, or should I say the Giants will see. And they gave him 100 million reasons. 5, it's like the contract details like it's going to be 5 years, $100 million. And it would be in 20 million a season. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, too, it's just like, hey, they gave him the money. They do have some talent, but we're going to see if John Harbaugh can still pretty much, be a wizard like he's been for Baltimore. We'll see.
Facts. Titans are interviewing McCarthy. You haven't heard much because I think at the end of the day, he's just going to make his choice and he's just not going to have it all over the media. I think once he gets hired, that's when you'll know. He hasn't even really been putting his, business in the street like that. So, hey, it happens. Right quick, Peter Straker, NFL Network, y'all know him. He put this out there, man. He put this out there. Hey, look, y'all know if somebody put it out there in the air, and we've been talking about it, they don't have a GM or a head coach right now. He talking about us. I can't give you a valid answer on what the Falcons playing at quarterback because of that. But Matt Ryan is going to play a large role in the vision of this team. How long have me and A1 been saying that? For God knows how long. So this is what we're going to listen to right quick, and he'll give y'all a quick thought on it.
Yeah, sure. You mentioned a bunch of different quarterbacks there in different locations. What about Atlanta? Is Penix and Kirk, are they just rolling with those two? Are they going to be in kind of the quarterback conversation when it comes to, new head coach coming in, possibly new front man as well?
So Atlanta is a really interesting deal. So let's go through it. So Raheem doesn't think he's getting fired, gets fired after winning 4 straight games. And then we learn after the fact that, the conversations, informal, were happening with Matt Ryan anyway. They go through this entire search for this head of football operations deal. They interview Brant Tillis, who's the man down in Carolina. They interview Mike Disner, who's in Detroit. Foxy might know that name pretty well. He's been part of that whole rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
And in the end, they're like, it's going to be Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's doing his press conference right now. Fine. But they don't have a GM yet, and they don't have a head coach yet. And there's also, Arthur Blank, who's an owner in his 80s, and Arthur's son, who's 29, Josh Blank, who has been working at the league office for years and is now sort of taking a bigger role. So there's a lot of voices in that room already of like what we're looking at, vision, and Matt Ryan's there to kind of synergize it all. I say all this because I don't think I could give you a valid answer on what their plan is at quarterback because we don't have the head coach, we don't have the GM, and Matt Ryan's voice is going to play such a large role in the vision of this team. So anything I thought would have been from the previous regime and before the last couple of days, Matt Ryan's not coming in and saying, hey, Penix is the guy or Penix is not the guy. That's why you do the interviews. That's why you meet all these people.
Excited to see that. He said he's not going to pull a Phillip Rivers and play football, but we'll see.
Saw that.
Never know.
We'll see.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically what he's saying, and he makes a great point. You need a quarterback is basically what he's saying. And until they get that GM and their head coach in place, and this is why they have to get it right. I keep telling y'all, and I brought it up last night. When you look at the coach and the GM, you got to think about what scheme is going to be ran, what they're going to, do as far as offensive schemes, defensive schemes. I think they're going to stick with a guy that runs the wide, the zone wide run, the 4-3 hybrid or whatever you want to call it. You got to figure all that out once you get a coach. This is why we don't know the direction that they're really going to go until they make the hire. Now, there was another post, Chad Forbes, and it made me think just a little bit tougher about what's really going on. And again, let me take that off the screen right fast. Here we go. Multiple people I've spoken with. This Chad Forbes, he's, a credible source. He's all over everybody's podcast. But he's pretty much a draft expert. But he said multiple people I've spoken with believe Matt Ryan will hire Clint Kubiak as the next Falcons head coach. And me and A1 been saying that too. Ties to Shanahan tree and the perfect offense for Penix. And what did I say? What I've been saying since the middle of the season? Whatever coach they bring in, I think they're going to force them to try to work with Michael Penix just to say that they didn't fail at making that pick. I said that, and I just think it makes sense because why go out and pay $50 million for a quarterback when you still possibly have one on the roster that you can be a game manager with and probably win you some games, especially if you're going to build your identity on defense. All Penix has to do when he comes back is, make it work. But on the other hand, he may be out for the season and you bring in a veteran who's playing well and you go into that second season with that veteran. He played well that first season. I mean, there's no room for Penix. So it's a slippery slope. And as the followers been saying, A1 been saying, I'm looking at Mac Jones all day. The rest of this tweet says that as well. 49er Josh Williams is seen as the favorite for GM. Wait for the Seahawks season to conclude out of respect. And that last part is Josh Williams. Who is the quarterback, the backup quarterback in San Francisco? Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Yes, sir.
So,
I've been talking about Mac Jones. I mean, you're going to have to give up a draft pick for him for sure, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying.
As long as I got a franchise quarterback, I'm fine with that. But go ahead.
I mean, but I want to backtrack to the point about Penix. The point about the reason why that's also such a slippery slope is because, like you said about being wrong about the pick, but it's not just not being wrong about a pick. It's not just a pick. It's a quarterback that you drafted 8th overall, and initially it was reported that you were going to go defense and Latu, but you decided to pivot and go Penix after that workout. Okay, so again, this was solely personal decisions and everything toward the end that got Penix to Atlanta. So you have to work out that rookie contract. I think the Atlanta Falcons are probably going to try to work all the way down to Penix's final year to at least say, hey, we worked with him, we tried. And no matter, if things don't work out, they can be like, well, we tried. If things work out, they can say, see, that's where patience gets you. So that's another reason why it's so slippery, because it could go either way. And it's like you don't want to go down that slope, but it's like you got to put on the skis and go down that slope and see. It's like you have to, because he's here. Like they're saying he's motivated. getting to his rehab. He's in the building every morning. So I mean, he's putting in the work from what they're saying. But we still got to wait for him to get on the field, and that's the most scariest part of that slope.
Yeah, and as we've been saying, man, and we know they like to be comfortable, and they that's just the way they work, and it seems like that's not going to change. But the reason why I can roll with them being comfortable in this situation is because we have a GM or a person, a president of football or whatever you want to call him, a younger person in place that pretty much knows how the game is evolving. That is why I have confidence in Matt Ryan, because I know if this was Rich McKay, we wouldn't even be having these conversations about Harbaugh. Because as I told y'all, he even said he didn't even want Belichick here. So why would he go out and get another older coach? I just went and saw it. So as you look at it, but Trobe say Penix is sloppy, can't move in the pocket. If you wasn't winning games before he went out, well, make you think you're going to win games when it come back out the injuries. And he makes a solid point. That's a very solid point.
But bro, think about it. We can answer that question. They're thinking that the guys that they had here wasn't the guys, and the new guys that they bring in will be the guys. So they're expecting. Also, the offensive line was beat up. Caleb McGarry not being there. Elijah Wilkinson, like he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't like. It's just hard to say he wasn't good too. He had stretches to where he was good, but ultimately it wasn't Caleb McGarry over there. So offensive line, hopefully you beef up the offensive line, you improve the offensive line, and you improve the coaching. And I'm telling you, and then with him being on that rookie contract, those are bam, bam, boom on why they think that they can really make Penix work. I mean, it's just like, to me, in my opinion, that's what it seems like. It's pretty simple about that. They really, really want it to work.
Absolutely, that's all we saying. Here's another great point by Gabriel Rodgers. He said they're gonna let the coach and GM pick their own quarterback. May not this year, but definitely next year. And all he's saying is this is a bridge quarterback, and that's what they're gonna go for. And that's why it makes sense. That's why it makes sense. Maybach, appreciate you, my guy. He said hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I'm a Patriot fan and I'm here, and Maybach been supporting me for years, man. So shout out to him, man. And Millie Mills, he said a big question. How would you sell the MP9 situation to a coach in the interview? Woo, boy, that is a killer question.
Talk about putting brothers on the spot. Yeah, that's an interesting talking point right there, boy.
How do you sell them on the MP9 conversation? Oh. You know what?
Man, you can sell them, but it's like, are they gonna listen to it? Are they gonna buy it?
I'm gonna be real with you. A strong offensive coordinator, a strong mind that comes out the Shanahan system and the Sean McVay tree. And I know Zach Robinson didn't work out, but a real offensive coordinator that loves a challenge and one that's very good at their job, they wouldn't give a damn who at quarterback. They're gonna find a way to move the football. And you don't have to sell them on it, because if they're strong-minded enough, they'll want to do it. Why? Because if they make that quarterback look good, knowing that quarterback been had injuries, he's been inconsistent, and then you sort of like what Sam Darnold went through. We thought he was a bust till he got in the right position under the right coach. So what if that coach is the right coach and say, hey, you don't have to sell me on that. I'm going to show you what I can do it the way I coach. And he pulled Michael Penix out that hole and Falcons got them a franchise quarterback. You don't have to sell them on that, because a good offensive coordinator going to sell themselves. I'm going to just keep it real.
I will say this, though, like, because you're going to have to talk about it. So I will say, like, if you're having to talk to them about it, the best way I think that you can go about it is kind of like short and sweet. Okay, yes, Michael Penix has had the injuries, but think about what do we have around him already. We have a decent offensive line that we can improve. We have skill players. We have the Bijan Robinsons. We have the Drake Londons. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Kyle Pitts or Tyler Algier, but it still can be a selling point to where they can talk about it. You also talk about how the defense, and you like, well, okay, we got a defense that's going to continue to get the ball back to you. and you can be able to continue to work the offense how you so please. It's just like it's not like you have a team that has like so many holes in it. You do have some things you can build off of and go that route. And again, like you said, if it's a strong-minded offensive mind now, I do believe that he can possibly look at it and be like, okay, I could come in this situation and I can make something shake. That's another reason why I feel like Clint Kubiak is really going to be the guy. Offensive mind. Look what he's doing with Sam Darnold. He's worked with other quarterbacks in the past. Last year he had Derek Carr before his shoulder went out, and then he had to work with whatever was left. But at the end of the day, like, he's still able to navigate the offense and still kind of like cater the offense to what the quarterback strengths are. So that's what I want to see. Will he be able to do that moving forward if he's offered the job and takes the job? So
yeah,
it's hard not to look at Kubiak, bro. It's hard not to.
Yeah, and we showed y'all that chart when it comes to diversifying the offense. He's the best in the business. That means he's going to spread the ball around, try to get everybody involved. This is why Zach Robinson didn't get nowhere, because he didn't know how to open up the playbook properly. He didn't know how to scheme properly for all that talent. It was too much talent for him. See, he had the mind of a college offensive coordinator, not a pro offensive coordinator, because only college coaches depend on one person. An NFL coach knows how to spread the ball around. And in a Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan type system, spreading the ball out is the key to them teams winning games. And that's just something Zach couldn't do. But Tate said Pennett's losses came 3 overtime losses, 3 missed field goal kicks, one from a last-second field goal, and another against the 49ers with a kicker missed a field goal. Let's not act like Pennett ain't put us in a position to win. He's absolutely right. And then Zach Robinson will average at that. So
another selling point. That's another selling point. That whole sentence is a whole selling point.
Hold on, Chris. Hold on. Hey, nephew, chill out, man. Y'all, if y'all in the chat disrespecting, man, y'all gonna get blocked. I'm telling y'all, we keep it cool in here. None of that disrespecting, calling names, man. Let's keep it peaceful. Come on now. Y'all been rocking with us long enough. We don't do that here. Y'all can disagree. Just don't disrespect nobody. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, let's just keep it respectful, everybody, man, for real. But that's pretty much just my point. I was just saying, like, that's just another selling point. You can put what I said and what Tay Hall just said, put it all together, and be like, hey, it's not like, our quarterback is trash or anything like that. He just didn't have the proper development and proper coaching. And that's where we're hoping that you can come in and take what has already been done and enhance it.
Yeah. And Xavier said MPJ ran a 4.49. I refuse to believe he's incapable of playing under center. Show footage of him actually not doing it correctly. Every time I seen him do it, he looked fine. And see, that's what I'm saying. It was the offensive coordinator not game planning and scheming properly for him to succeed. Because we all know if you in the pistol offense is what, 2-3 step, get the ball out. Why is the football not going to Kyle Pitts? Why is the football not going to Darnell Mooney, Tyler Algier, and all of these guys? The only 2 people that they would seem to be concerned about were Drake and Bijan. The offense is built off more than them. And as an offensive coordinator, you got to know that. So, yeah, I get it. Eddie J, what's up, man?
And that's another reason why I think Clint Kubiak is the guy again. That's what I'm saying. That's another guy that I feel like Clint Kubiak is the guy again, because I've been listening to other, some people who working with him now, even on the Seahawks. And one thing that stands out that I've heard from 3 different people, he uses every inch of the field, and as a defense, you have to cover every inch of the field, because if you don't, he will find a spot that he can have the quarterback drop a pass and move the chains. He's a chain mover. He's somebody that controls the offense. That's important to me, because I don't want somebody who can just call plays. I want somebody who can control the offense and be able to use all those weapons. And it's not overwhelming for him or whatever. It's just like some guys disappear some games and everything. Like, I want it to be fluent. So hoping we get that offensive mind. And even though he is a first-time head coach, and we still do have to tread lightly with that, it's just like what your best option now that Harbaugh is off the board, even though he was a special teams coach. That's like your best option, I feel. But we'll see.
Yeah, man. But nephew, man, look, you listen to who you want to listen to, man. I listen to Mad Mike too. Everybody got their own opinions. I mean, if y'all feel he can't play on the center, that's y'all's opinion. But for me, watching all them games at Washington, he absolutely can play on the center. When you got a coach that can't game plan from on the center, that's where the problems come in. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, I definitely.
And he really, knee was already hurt, and we didn't even know it until the surgery popped up. So he had injury to his knee already. He just didn't know it. So look, he can play on the center. Absolutely, he can play on the center. He can.
Yeah, I definitely believe it. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just all about the offensive scheme and what are you having to do. And my thing is, I want to see that also because what? I mean, if he can't play on the center, then we need to know that too.
Yeah,
we really do.
But again, they're not gonna just come out and say, "Hey, we didn't know it. We made a mistake." Just gonna have to figure that out ourselves. But Willa, appreciate the donation, my brother. He said during the presser in response to a question, Matt said they're looking for the best coach, not necessarily the offensive coach. Still think Flores is in the mix. Willie, I absolutely think he's in the mix.
Yeah.
And I've been telling y'all, this hire is going to have some kind of connection to it. Because as I told y'all, Ian Cunningham is still my favorite to get the GM. But looking at what Chad Forbes said, I can still see the 49ers GM coming over as well. Why? Because Matt has a relationship with Kyle still, and he still has friends in that organization. You got to remember, his cousin, Mike McGlinchey, was a former right tackle for the San Francisco 49ers. So he knows people in the organization. So, connections and relationships matter in the world of sports. So whomever we hire, it's going to have some kind of connection to it from where Matt Ryan was being comfortable talking to them, and he's so off the blank and on what he's trying to do. So now if he gets that GM and that head coach and they click, guess what? Relationship's gonna keep going. This is why Mac Jones keep coming up. You can also see with Clint Kubiak, you can still see for instance, who was the Broncos star backup? Not with Bo Nix. It was another backup that they had that Clint was over there. Then you look at you can even look at it as, what if New Orleans cut Spencer Rattler? You can see him in Atlanta as a backup or a third string. Connection just always matter in football, and this is something that will never change. But Willie, yeah, absolutely, Flores is still in the mix. Yeah, I'm telling you, Flores is definitely in the mix because him and Matt Ryan have a relationship. They were former teammates at Boston College.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Yeah, we talked about that, and then I talked about Robert Saleh, but I don't think he's gonna be the guy again. It's just like another option,
Yeah.
Go ahead,
they got to cross all I's. I mean, cross all T's, dot all I's. They got to do all that good stuff. But Let Us Pray, man. Y'all go check out Let Us Pray Sports on YouTube, man. Big supporter of mine. He does his thing on the regular, man. Y'all please go check him out. Morning show, noon show, night show. Whenever he gets on, he gets on. But Flores, I thought about that too, because after that debacle in Miami, where the front office totally screwed him, Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh was the only team brave enough to give him a chance before he went to Minnesota. So he knows the Pittsburgh way. He knows how it works. He's a defensive guy. And what do they do best? A defensive team. And if they want to get back to the promised land, I think Flores will be a perfect hiring. And I think that turned that thing around pretty quick. So, yeah. I think Arthur Smith, best chance of being a coach is probably Tennessee, because the front office knows him. He knows how to run. The organization is ran. He's been a head coach, so now he goes back to Tennessee. He's an offensive line guy, and we know he likes to run the football, and that's something that they're gonna have to deal with, man. So, I mean, that's something they like to do. But Tennessee is just up in shambles, man. They got a lot to rebuild. Now they do have two key pieces on the defensive side of the football, so that is good. They got a quarterback in place. They still need weapons for that quarterback. Still need another running back. So Tennessee is for upfield climb, but Arthur Smith does make a lot of sense there because he was an offensive line / offensive coordinator guy there when Derrick Henry was playing there. So it makes sense. Absolutely, D. Craig. He absolutely put out A1 content, man. Absolutely. Let us pray, man. Y'all go check him out on YouTube, man. Please do that. And tell him Smitty sent you, man.
Oh, yeah. Like the content over there.
Yeah, Thomas, that's true. Pittsburgh is great at choosing coaches. And I think Flores is really automatically going to be in the running because, like I said, they gave him a chance when nobody else did. So, I mean, hey, it works. Miller say, all right, Smitty, A1 compared to two. Stefanski versus Kubiak, who's actually better? Woo, boy, that's a good question. Because they pretty much came up under the same tree. When you look at Stefanski, he has the most head coaching experience because he's been in Cleveland for 7 years. He was in the Minnesota Vikings organization for 13 years. So he has the most experience overall. And his West Coast style offense is the same thing that Zach Robinson tried to run, but couldn't do it efficient enough. So he would be an upgraded version of Zach Robinson. Kubiak. He's another guy of the same system, but he's more on the Kyle Shanahan side because his father taught him the game. Gary Kubiak, who was a former NFL quarterback, former coach under Mike Shanahan, Kyle's father. So his variant of the West Coast style offense fits more of Kyle Shanahan, whereas Stefanski's fit more of Sean McVay. So you just got to remember, man, if you compare these two, it's pretty tough because they have a lot of similarities, but they also have a lot of differences.
But you kind of got to get into Stefanski to a degree right now.
Yeah, you do because he has
coaching experience.
Exactly. There you go.
It's not fair, but it's really by default. You know, it's just at the end of the day, you know, I'm saying, like being an offensive coordinator and being a head coach, those are two different things. You have more responsibility as a head coach, and especially if you're a good one who wants to be hands-on with different things, making sure everything is all right. You're gonna have to do those things. So, yeah, I don't want Stefanski, me personally, but at the same time, I gotta give it to him as far as his head coach. He has more experience and on scene more than Clint has.
Yeah, and one thing about it too that we know about Stefanski, him being in Minnesota and him being in Cleveland, he knows how to develop quarterbacks. Things didn't work out with Deshaun, but let's be real, Deshaun had too much going on off the field, probably wrecked him mentally, and he wasn't really checked into these games mentally. This is why he probably fell off. So Stefanski, when it comes to working with quarterbacks, got more experience. So I would lean towards Stefanski, even though a lot of us don't want to hear that. But at the same time, got to think about connections. Trobe said they can go somewhere with Matt Jones. He played well with the 49ers. He absolutely does play well with the 49ers because he understands that system. But if they get Kubiak or Stefanski, Matt Jones is going to fit either way because he fits that offense. He's an old school pro style type offense, type running back, type quarterback. And you know the pro style in the West Coast, pretty much the same thing. In the zone running, both coaches run it. So that's why to me, they're the last two in the running because John Harbaugh to me was really never in the question.
Yeah.
Joe said, are we considering going back to another first-time coach despite the wishes of many to bring in real veteran leadership? Matt Ryan is an amazing step, but we need to echo that within the organization. That is an excellent point.
Yeah, think about it though, fam. I can answer this. You think about who's left. All right. Think about who's left. Okay, we haven't had any talks or anything reported, should I say, about like a Mike McCarthy, right? But we have had reports of possibly about a Brian Flores. That's going to be a first time. Clint Kubiak. That's going to be a first time. Even now Robert Saleh wouldn't be a first timer, but you think about it, that Jets was just so bad. It just when you actually kind of just want to give him a pass for that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a one-time experience. But basically, what I'm saying is like a lot of people who are the favorites you look at outside of Stefanski, everybody else is already like first-time guys. So it's like, okay, you can go just hire Stefanski. You can try to just go hire McCarthy, but do you just want to just go get a guy just because he's experienced? Now, McCarthy would be interesting, but like again, for me, Stefanski, it's almost like for me, I would have to be sold on it. Again, I know he's with the Browns, but I actually just feel like he's going down more so than up. But that's just my personal opinion. I can be completely wrong.
That's a good point. Solid point. But sometimes, man, you can look bad and teams can make you look bad. And like I said, Cleveland front office is in shambles. It just is. And it ain't no way around it. Our boy Larry from the Dixon Way, man. Y'all please go check out Dixon Way on YouTube, man, and TikTok. He said, I don't want Stefanski with our young quarterback who had he developed that he played better under him. I disagree with that, Larry. You might get $100,000 and all, but he was the coach when Baker Mayfield popped on the scene, and Baker Mayfield threw for 30 touchdowns in one season. So I just think
he just
got a raw deal in Cleveland because y'all got to think Cleveland is a team that constantly rotates their rosters. They don't hold people for long because when they get superstar, they trade them away. Myles Garrett is the exception. But I just think
he wanted to go.
Yeah. I think Stefanski to me is the best option because of his him being a veteran. And there's no more veteran guys on, no more veteran guys on the market.
That we've been linked to at least.
Mike, what's up, man? He said Matt might not always right about everything. None of us are always right. But there are a few people who are smarter than when it comes to the quarterback. I played quarterback, wide receiver, and cornerback, as well as mentored by the legend Terrence Mathis. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But look, I just said, we got to look. I'm telling you, we got to get an offensive guy, no doubt about it, because all the talent that we have on offense going to waste, and we're gonna lose some players this offseason. When you get the right coach and GM, we can go fit new players in those same spots. We talked about Tyler. We talked about Darnell Mooney. We talked about these guys. You go out and hit the free agent market the right way and draft the right way, you don't skip a beat. Absolutely, Miller Mills. Players do need change of scenery sometimes. Coaches do too.
Yeah, I'm not taking away from that. Again, like I said, it's just like for him, I would just have to be like wait and see type of thing. Of course, he comes in here, we hire him. I'm gonna support him. But it's just like how Raheem Morris wasn't my choice. Stefanski ain't either.
But let's be real. At least Stefanski had some kind of success. And the crazy thing about it,
I don't want to discredit him. Coaching team, coaching of the year.
Yeah, I get that. But his time in Cleveland, his time in Tampa and his time in Atlanta ended the exact same way. The exact same way. Played good for the first, season and a half. Well, the first season when they were 6-3, half of the first season, fell off a cliff. Started the second season, 3-2, fell off a cliff. He did that in Tampa too. Just kept falling off the cliff and clipping over his own 2 feet. That's why he can't never walk straight. So that's why he doesn't have a job right now. No, they didn't release Jeff Ulbrich. He's still here, and they hope to keep him on. Mike Tomlin, make Mike Tomlin the GM. He has family in Georgia, so their connection is there. I don't think he's going to coach. I think he's just going to do. I think he's just going to sit back a year, see what happens, take time off, and see what the best spot for him. Because it might be a job that he's looking at that's not even open yet, and with teams possibly, every year there are new playoff teams, and it might be over. But I think a job he might be waiting on, and I know Dan Campbell has been there and he's been successful. He could be waiting on a Detroit job because depending on what they do this year, it could be Dan Campbell's last year. So maybe he's just waiting on a certain job. Who knows?
That could be interesting right there. Tomlin in Detroit. You think about it, man. These coaches, like, it's either gonna be one or two things that's gonna happen. Either they're gonna chase the money or they're gonna chase the talent. It's rare times where you have a lot of talent and then you can get paid a lot of money too. So, these coaches, even with the Giants, I just still think, their presentation and the fact that the quarterback situation. I do feel like if Michael Penix was 100% healthy, made it through the season, I do feel like Harbaugh would at least listen to the Falcons because that's one thing that he wanted was a quarterback situation.
Yeah.
I do feel like.
And I heard somebody, I forgot who it was. I think it was Dan Orlovsky. He said if they end up getting John Harbaugh and kept Kirk Cousins, they're either 10 or 11 win team. I agree with that to a certain extent. But actually, how much do Kirk still have left in the tank? No matter what offensive coordinator you pairing with. We saw it this year. That arm about to go. Some throws he couldn't even make. So, hey, think about things like this. But Joe said, I think I'd go with Stefanski. I don't see Arthur and Matt opting in for that after what the last regime was. They want to do things more traditionally. So I see them going a traditional route by Stefanski. Yeah, and the way he means by traditional coach that has experience.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, Kurt about done. Kurt on about done.
Yeah, I remember Donald Glover. I know where Avondale at, man. Yeah, my boy went there. Jay Key says Adam Schefter was saying Stefanski might be interested in as the offensive coordinator for a year because he's still getting paid by Cleveland. I can see that.
I can see that.
If they can get him as an offensive coordinator and still bring in Clint Kubiak, that's a win for everybody. I mean,
yeah,
you can't ask for
remember
though. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Now I was about to say, remember, Smitty, I had proposed that at one time. Remember, I said, can Kubiak be the head coach? Stefanski take a step back and try to, like navigate the all as an OC. And remember, you were saying that Stefanski's ego may get in the way of the whole ordeal.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Because yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's a possibility. That's what I'm saying. Like I can live with that. I just don't want him as my head coach.
But thinking about this as well, you get both of them in here, Michael Penix wins because you got not only do you have a head coach that's the offensive guy, you got the offensive coordinator. Here, do you really need a quarterback coach? No, you don't, because you have two guys right there that's going to help him develop, help him get the way he need to be in the right offense. So this is why I think it just makes so much sense. And the way it's looking, I just think they're going to find a way to keep Ulbrich. And they, like they said, they're trying not to make the same mistakes. When they let Ryan Nielsen walk out the door after they had, 40-plus sacks that year, something they hadn't did and God knows when, and he walks right out the door to Jacksonville. They're trying to avoid those mistakes again. So whatever working for them, they're trying to keep that in-house. They're going to try to keep Letford. They're going to try to keep Nate Ollie and these guys. So whatever is working, they're going to try to keep them aboard. What's not working, it just happens. But yeah, man. Just a quick pop in, man. About Jim Harbaugh, man. Right quick. Tremel said, when did Jackson Dart become such a great prospect? I mean, he played okay, but nothing to write home about. Yeah, I mean, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, threw for I think a little bit under 2,300 yards. I think his
Build off of that.
percentage was like about 61%. I mean, he did decent as a rookie. I give him that. And
You can build off of that.
Yeah, you can build off of that. And one thing that I wouldn't mind bringing in still, if they could find a spot for him, was Brian Dayball. I'm not even hearing his name a lot at all. So maybe, he'll be a coordinator next year, get another chance in a couple of years. Yeah, man, it's been another good pop-up show, man. You got anything to say before we get out of here?
Hey, man, just always, just appreciate everybody coming through. Really do, man. Just, even for our pop-up shows, I know y'all have y'all lives and things. Show love and, appreciation and just to the Atlanta Falcons. And we appreciate you guys, man. So, I mean, of course, we'll be back at y'all because there's going to be more news coming out. So we're gearing up for ready for that. Smitty got his chicken wings. I got my salmon. I'm ready. We're ready to go.
On deck. Always on deck. But yeah, man, y'all know where to catch me, Smitty Sports Machine. Stay tuned for all the latest, greatest news concerning the Atlanta Falcons. As always, thank y'all for the time, the donations. Truly appreciate it. As always. Shout out to the content creators, man. Larry Dixon Way, Mad Mike Sports, and let us pray. Let us pray. Go check out all those guys, man, on YouTube. Great Falcon content creators, man. And we are out here supporting the logo and doing what we got to do to keep this information coming in fresh. But until next time, man, we're going to holler at y'all later, man. Peace.
Peace.